Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is NUS Africa. I'm in Manchester, United Kingdom, and I'm trying to show you, as I said before earlier, that I was going to try and get you more videos of where I live in Manchester. And this is one of the special videos I think maybe I should share with you in terms of the location itself. Well, I think these are the parts of Manchester whereby most people don't tend to see. So this is the neighborhood. It's called Hulme, and we are at the back of the Hulme community garden. I think they're going to build something up there. As you can see, the land is unoccupied. Right, the city center is, as you can see, a lot of skyscrapers are coming up. Manchester is one of the fastest growing cities probably in the UK or maybe in Europe. Yeah, so you've got community places here, the Claremont, you got the multi-ethnic groups community everywhere to support those in need. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna carry on. So that's one of the oldest pubs. It's called the Junction Hotel. It's closed for about 5 years now. It's one of the oldest, located in Rolls Crescent. Used to be a lot of fights, in this pub here. A lot of taxis wouldn't come at night to pick up, passengers, because a lot of fights. That's the junction, and this is Rolls Crescent in here. So that's the Manchester Metropolitan University students' accommodation. As you can see, we're not very far to where the city centre is. It's probably about 20 minutes walk to the city centre. That's Deansgate over there, as you can see, where the skyscrapers are. Student accommodations. It's Sunday today, of course. Looks a bit quiet, but nice day as well. As you can see, the sun is out. Just gonna take you through the campus map, which shows what's in here. Don't know if you can see it clearly because of the reflection from the sun, and it shows everything. So we are literally, that's where we are here. Okay, so this is Manchester Metropolitan. Oh, nice day today. Got nice, lovely sun. As I said earlier, Manchester, comprises of 4 universities. This is the Manchester Metropolitan, and then we've got the Manchester University, and then we've got the Salford University. They do attract a lot of foreign students as well, coming down to study in Manchester. It's probably one of the great cities to be right now for university students. So we are heading towards the Faculty of Medicine. So that's the Brooks building over there. That's where nursing and medicine takes place for the Manchester Metropolitan University, but it's a different location for Manchester University and Salford University. Right. So whoever wants to come and study in Manchester, you are most welcome. They've got a community guideline here about the plants and the birds around here. So there's a lot of natural trees. Got a lot of pears. I will probably try and find if I can get any of these ones. I've found them like summer times. I normally pick up my cherries or strawberries around here every now and then during the summer period. We've got lovely plants where some of these plants, they do survive throughout the winter time, and some of them they don't survive. They only live during the summertime. As you can see, most of these trees here, they're quite dry, no leaves. They've all gone. But see some of these trees, there's nothing, there's no leaves on it. So normally comes in two different types. I forgot the name, but if I remember, I'll get back to you and tell you what the name is. Yeah. So this is the Manchester Metropolitan. Don't think if I've done a video before, but obviously today is a day. It's raining a little bit, but I want to try and get the most of probably what we can get in Manchester. Do a bit of tours of here and there, just to give you an update. So if you feel like coming down to Manchester for your medicine studies, you've got the Manchester Metropolitan. Here it is. Right. Alright. It's a nice square, very neat, clean and quiet as well. I think it's the Birchfield, they called it Birchfield Square. If you go down that way, there's the Co-op and the Stretford Road, one of the main roads. So just imagine the amount of these buildings, Manchester universities, they've invested heavily in student accommodation. These are all student accommodations, and I think they're quite expensive as well. Depends. Most of these ones are privately owned, or Manchester University. No, it's Manchester Metropolitan. This one, yeah, all the way down to that end. Can you see that building there? The far end, the grey, black, silverish building. That's the far end where Manchester Metropolitan. Well, that's the Faculty of Fashion and Designing, I think, Arts and so forth. So that's where the estate, ends for Manchester Metropolitan. But it's quite a big place, to be honest. Such a massive, huge place. They do own a lot of properties. So from what I've heard, Manchester University itself, not with Manmet and Salford, they own over 200 properties in the city of Manchester, and obviously they are one of the biggest employers. Including the Manchester Airport Group, and including the Royal Infirmary or Manchester Hospitals and so forth. So these are the three main, biggest employers. They've got so many employees working on them. Right. So that's the Stretford Arch Bridge, which connects Stretford Road. Underneath there is the A56, which is in another words, it's called the Princess Road. So this road down below here, we're gonna see it connects Manchester and probably Liverpool all the way to London and the far east southeast of England. So if you go this way straight down to Wales, Cardiff, Northern Wales, Northern Wales, and so forth. So the Archway Hall, newly built about a year ago. It's a student accommodation. As you can see, nice place to live as a student. Fully furnished. See the logo of Manchester Metropolitan University. That's it. Right, so we are on Stretford Road now. That road leads all the way to Old Trafford, where Manchester United, and this side is Manchester City and Manchester United. It's a bit cold today. Temperatures about 3 degrees, and we're expecting snow probably anytime soon. So Manchester is one of those cities whereby It grew through industrialization when it first started to occur in the 18th century. So there was a lot of industries in Manchester, and a lot of businesses depending on the textile industries. They used to trade with the rest of the world before the late or the early 20th centuries, during the time of Thatcher, whereby we had a different strategy in terms of the economy of the country itself. So what happened is they started importing stuff from abroad, and one of the main places they started importing was, for example, coal. Coal was produced, or it was mined in a place in Sheffield, so they decided to import coal from other parts of the world like Poland, and the reason was to reduce the cost for them and make it cheaper so they could buy somewhere else. It was cheaper for them to buy. This is during the Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher's regime. It was quite cheaper to buy coal from abroad rather than to produce it locally or to mine it locally here in the UK. So that's where it started. So you'll find a lot of countries doing the same as well. They're trying to reduce their cost of labor. Obviously in the UK it's not going to be the same. If you pay obviously an hourly rate, you'll be paying about £10 an hour, for someone to work for you, but it depends on the skills. Some people, they get paid even more, not even an hour. They get paid for half an hour or something like that. But the minimum pay at the moment, you'll be looking at about, if you want to survive, you'll probably need a bit £10 an hour for you to be able to survive. Anything less than that is a bit difficult. So they decided to import in order for them, because it was cheaper to import from abroad. For example, some countries, they'll definitely be doing about, they pay people salaries maybe on a monthly basis. So if you look at the different parts of the world, somewhere is cheaper. It might be cheaper somewhere else to get people to work for you, and it's going to be cheaper as well to import than to produce locally. This is why they decided to do that. As I've said earlier, there's so many countries doing the same thing as well to reduce costs and make cost of living cheaper. So we might call it exploitation or slavery, or kind of, because if you get paid £10 an hour in the UK, why should you get paid probably $200 or $300 a month in another country? Well, it might be sufficient for those living in those countries because the cost of living over there is cheaper, but end of the day, some people say it's exploitation. Right, so this is the Mancunian, as you can see at the top there. It's a connection between the M602. So the M602 is one of those roads which leads to, the 602 goes all the way to Liverpool. So joining the M60. We will be in Liverpool once, as I promised. I'll try and get you as many videos of the UK as possible. This is the beginning of my YouTube exploration. So I'm trying to, give my audience all they need. So imagine those 3 towers over there. These are all privately owned, but there's going to be about 10 skyscrapers on this side. There's a plan which was designed about 10 years ago to make Manchester more attractive to foreign investment. So the Mancunian is like the Nairobi highway. They've got this one which runs in the middle of the city. That's a student accommodation. It's called the Parkway Gate. So if you're going that way straight, you're going to go to Liverpool, probably Bolton and other parts of the northwest. So we're going to cross the road here towards the other side. Say stop. So I'm going to stop and wait for my turn. There's the green light for me. That's the green light. And I'm going to cross the road safely. As you can see, it's path for pedestrians. And you've got cyclists passed over there. So this place, I can say, it looks like the Nairobi highway in a sense, but they've got so many plants at the Nairobi highway. They've planted so many nice greeneries over there. And I guess the reason why is probably over here you don't get a lot of good weather, for the plants, because plants, they also need sun. and we don't get a lot of sun here. It's mainly like raining throughout. The only time we get sun is through the summertime, but then the temperature can go over 30 degrees at the same time, so it's not good for the plants. The plants need, they need the sun at the same time, and they also need water, So our environment where we live here is not very agricultural friendly, but it is for other products. For example, like vegetables and some, not citrus. Citrus fruits are not friendly here, but some vegetables like potatoes and some fruits like apples, strawberry, and so forth, they grow here. So they're building more students in accommodations, as you can see. When you're working on a construction site, the most important thing before anything else is safety of your employees. And this is, it is located in the regulations under the health and safety at work regulation rule, which was amended in 1974, Act 1974, I think amended in 1990s, but it still holds as the health and safety of employees is under the hands, or the employers are responsible for the safety of the employees at work. So places like that, you might need to wear proper clothing, to protect your head, proper footwear to protect you from slides, proper, gloves, maybe, to protect you from cuts and bruises and burns and so forth. So the Parkway Gate, it's a student accommodation, as you can see. It has been renovated about a year ago. This building has been here for the last 8-9 years, but they had to change the walls, as you can see. It's called cladding. So cladding, before it was like brown. That it was like this one. It looked like it was kind of brown with a bit of lightish color or creamish like that, but then they had to change it to this kind of cladding, which normally the cladding is normally, what do? They will apply it on outside the walls. So that's the cladding there, as you can see. They come in different types, different designs, and then you just stick them to the wall. And obviously before the wall they've got another material, they'll put it in there, so that the cladding can fit in clearly and nicely. As I've said earlier about Manchester being one of those cities that I might say they were proud so much in terms of industries back in the late 17 on towards the beginning of 18th centuries. So these are all student accommodations, you can see there. Some of these, they're not very expensive. It might be about £400 a month. So that used to be a rubber factory over there, but it has been converted now into a living apartment, and it's very classic inside and quite expensive as well. The company which ran this industry was called the East India Company. So East India Company, it's a company which it kind of take us back to the times of colonial, whereby we used to have East India companies along the East African coast, whereby the British colony, they used to run their businesses around there. So we had East India Company in other parts of East Africa, for example. Some countries in Africa, they had East India Company, which was literally over there. So it looks like it's going to be 29 or 30 stories high, another student accommodation. That's a lot of money for big companies. I mean, some of these are privately owned. You can see these are all students. We are still in the student area. These are all students' buildings. All. That's the campus over there. There's IT, Faculty of ICT, Information Communication Technology of Manchester Metropolitan. So that was East India Company. It was a rubber, industry. And some of these buildings, most of them, in fact, they've been kept up to date. They've been maintained and not taken down or demolished. And the reason is, it's the pride of this city to show what they came from. Obviously, you need history, for you, to build the future. And that's the reason why. Because history shapes lives. See that tower there? Right. So this is a new area also. It's called the Fast Street, First, Fast Street. So they've got a parking there for the students, right? And they're still building more, as we can see. So that building over there was rented by Auto Traders. It's a company which deals with sales of car online. But I think now they've moved out, and we've got different buildings which do a lot of different activities. Let's go, guys. I'll show you more. So that's the logo over there of the East India Rubber Company, as you can see there. India Rubber Works. Doesn't mean that Indians were working here, but the organization itself was called East India Company. Right. So along this alleyway is called Jack Rosendale Street. Used to be a lot of bars and restaurants here. This is Tony Wilson Place as well, located in the postcode of M15. So M15 is one of the postcodes in the areas of Manchester. Manchester has a lot of postcodes. You can start with postcode M1, like Mike 1, that's the city centre, M2, 3, 4, and 5. And there you go, 6 and 7 to the areas of Salford. This is M15. It literally, coincides with that of Hulme, but obviously it's mainly, this is the only students, accommodation. And after this one, we are done. We're going to be out of the student area, and we'll be going towards where the city centre is. I might as well try and go towards the Deansgate area, which is literally like, where the Hilton Hotel is. But we'll see. The weather is not very nice today. It's quiet, cloudy, and it's just spitting. It's raining. Okay, so in this area, we do have, obviously, we got Starbucks here, and we've got the Hulme Cinema. That's a Hulme Cinema there. It's called Hulme Cinema. It's like a place where you can come down, and relax. It's got only a few probably seats there for people to come in. It's not like a whole massive, huge cinema, where you go and few hundreds will sit down. This is absolutely different. So Hulme Cinema, it feels like going into a house. You've got your own chair, your own seat, and and what happens within here, it makes you feel like you are in your home, in your own area, your own private place, But unfortunately, it's not the same as going to a normal cinema. Right, so we've got Pizza Express over there. We've got a massive statue which belongs to this guy here. I've never read about him in depth, but I know a bit of it. Right, so we are still on our way. We're walking along the Fast Street. You got Pure Gym as well there, recently opened. Obviously one of the, I might say the cheaper options to go into a gym in the UK is via the gym or Pure Gym. So you pay as you go, or you might as well pay on a monthly basis, but no contracts, there's no contract attached between you and the gym. So with other gyms, you go in, there's a contract, it's a 12 months or 24 months, just like the phone contract, and you have to pay every monthly. And if you cancel the contract, then you might be charged a penalty. So with Pure Gym and some of these, the gym itself as well, there's no contract. You can pay on a monthly basis and cancel anytime. So it's a nice deal. The prices for them, they start between £10 a month, £15 a month, and so forth. But they are quite cheaper compared to many other gyms, which start about £25 a month and so forth. So that's the axis there. It's a new building next to the Hilton. So we're gonna go towards Hewitt Street. which is literally about a place where we normally go if we want to repair our cars. So I've got a mechanic here, but it's Sunday today, they're closed. So I normally get my car, you know, fixed around here. These are all privately owned properties with a lot of working class people. So when I say working class people, I mean people who are probably working, you know, or middle class. Not quite expensive, to be honest, but it's probably about, we're paying about between £800 to, you know, 1,200 for a 2 and 3 bedroom, you know, apartment. So yeah. So what I'm going to do now, I'm trying to walk you straight down to where the historical site of Deansgate is. So these are, you can see, you know, these are all, they're very old, you know, structures. These bridges, they were built long time ago. So what are they doing nowadays is they rent the bottom of the bridges. You know, they've got this arc. So the arc normally is converted into a room or, you know, a warehouse whereby you can rent. As you can see, there's number 83, 84, 85. These are all rented places and you pay per monthly. I don't know how much it is, but I've had like some of them between 600 to over £1,000. So that's the Deansgate, Castlefield. Deansgate is an area in Manchester with a postcode of M3, M2, you know, and Castlefield can be between, you know, M3 and M15. As you can see, guys, Manchester is one of the oldest. It's got its own history, but there's places like Chester as well, whereby the Romans were there many years ago. But we're going to visit a Roman castle now, and this is Deansgate. It's a place where a lot of people come down here. What do they come for? They come for, you know, going outing. These are all clubs here. I think I've done a video before during the time of COVID, and it was closed. So we're gonna go towards where the historical site is, and I'll take you along. Thank you for, you know, watching my YouTube channel, guys. I really appreciate you guys, and it's something that, you know, with YouTube, it's something that I think it builds in yourself, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes like an addiction. You want to go out, you know, you don't want to sit, you know, you prefer to go out and shoot some videos. You know, that's something that I like, and I think I'm getting to like it even more. So guys, we are on Whitworth Street. This is Whitworth Street, as you can see there. We're going towards the Castlefield, which is part of Deansgate. Send you more videos as we go along. So yeah, we are in the canal, trying to get you as much as possible. So guys, as you can see around here, we've got the wild berries. These are the only plants that can survive during the winter time. So quite a historical place. The warehouse and water wheel, and this one was to control the canal, probably, you know, to get the water going or moving from one point to another. So these are all living apartments. As we've said earlier, a lot of living apartments nowadays are being built along the canal. They look quite posh and extravagant. They're quite expensive to live in there as well. Cost between, you know, £2,000 maybe for a 2-bedroom flat. You got people who feel like, you know, they might as well live cheaper, and that's what they do. They'll buy these boats, call them barges, and what do they do in the barge? They, you know, renovate them and construct them into like a living, you know, apartment. So they live there, and they, you know, it's cheaper for them. Obviously, if you're living in one of these flats, you'll be paying council tax, you'll be paying rent, gas, electricity, water, and so many other costs, insurance, and so forth. These guys, for them, it's cheaper, you know, to stay over there. So people love to walk along the canals, you know, during weekends. It's so nice. You can see people walking, you know. It's quite a nice place, to be honest, to be. And, you know, spend time you know, outside, you know, for a weekend. We don't have quite a lot, to be honest, here in the UK in terms of the weather. The weather is not very, you know, nice as it is in many other parts of, you know, tropical areas where you get nice sun, you go to the beach and so forth. We don't have that, but this is what we've got. We've got a nice beach, as you can see. That's the beach we've got here, but you can't swim in it. The weather is cold, the water is cold, and it's very, very unsafe. Again, the Castlefield is here, preserving, improving, living in the heart of our city. So they are building more, you know, in this area. They are preserving it in terms of the history of this place. As we've said earlier, Manchester was probably one of the birthplaces of the industrial revolution, you know, within the UK probably, and the whole of Europe and maybe the world. A lot of textile industries were built here, and they were exporting goods towards as far as India and China and other parts of the world, which later changed in the early 19th or 20th century, whereby, you know, previous governments came with different, you know, ideologies, and they thought that it was going to be cheaper because competition of producing in production in other parts of the world was cheaper than here. So they thought that it would probably be, you know, cheaper, convenient, and affordable for them to buy from abroad rather than to, you know, produce from here. And that's why most of these, they are now remaining like that as a historical place, whereby we can remember, as we've said earlier, that history shapes lives. You know, history, you know, from history, that's how you're going to shape your future. You learn from the past to be able to move forward. So as you can see, most of these, they're quite old. The arcades, they can tell you, they're quite old. So they say that Grocer's Warehouse, built on the site where coal was first brought to Manchester by canal for the first Duke of Bridgewater. So the warehouse marks the location where coal was transshipped to street level using water wheel driven machinery designed and built by James Brenly. So the delivery of cheap coal marked the beginning of the Industrial Revolution and helped to establish Manchester as a principal manufacturing centre. This is what I was telling you guys. So as a result of increasing trade and success of the scheme, a warehouse for the storage of provisions was constructed on the site of the coal wharf. The original building was demolished in 1960. I wasn't born at that time. And this partial reconstruction, which incorporates a water wheel-driven hoist, was completed in 1987. So that means this is not the original one. The original one was demolished in 1960. And it's part of a good history. You know, I like history. I don't know if you guys love history as well, but I've always loved history. It's probably one of the, you know, my favorite subject. You know, when I was in school, I loved, you know, history. It was my favorite subject, to be honest. So as you can see, people are walking down there, families and, you know, couples and so forth. I'm walking as well. And the reason I'm walking today is for me to be able to show you everything what Manchester has to offer. I hope you love this video, and I will appreciate if you'd, you know, at least subscribe, like and share what I'm doing to motivate me so that I can move forward and get you as much or as more information as possible about living in the UK, the cost of living, how nice it is to be in the UK, and so forth. I've traveled to different parts of the world in the past, but I think the UK is probably a great place to be in. To live in the UK is a dream to many, and it's a nice place that I would never regret to be. So you are welcome as well. So we've got a piece of history down here. So warehouses around the coal wharf. So when Castlefield Basin was first opened in 1765, there were no warehouses to store coal or other goods, no means to transport them from the canal up to the Deansgate. So the first warehouse were built. See, this was it. Yeah, the first warehouse were built in 1771 and 1777. So this later became known as the Duke of Bridgewater's Warehouse and Grocer's Warehouse. So as you can see, these are the warehouse. You know, that one has been transformed into a living apartment. It's a station for the Key 103 radio station over there as well. But it has been transformed into a living apartment. These are the warehouse we're talking about. They've got chimneys there. You know, the chimneys show that, you know, a lot of coal was used, you know, probably, you know, a lot of coal was used to produce a lot of goods and merchandise. Obviously, it was a textile, capital probably of the world during that time. I know there was countries like Iran, there was countries like India and the Babylonia and the Assyrians and Egypt and so forth, but this island has got its own history as well, which is essential for people to know and understand and, to move forward in life. We live in a different world now, whereby it's more high-tech than it was before during these people. The 17th century, 18th century, it was more of a manual thing rather than, high-tech as we've got today. You've got an app, you've got a phone, you can record and move around, and you can connect to the rest of the world as, at your fingertips. So it's nice to have history. It's nice, to preserve all this for future generations so that people can see and can learn from it. So a lot of boats, there's a car park for these people who own these boats. They've got their homes in there, and there's a car park there where they can, stop their cars. They might need to have, a ticket, otherwise there's going to be a penalty. Yeah. So it's always nice to buy a ticket for your car park. Some of these people, they probably have them for like a month. You need to have a parking permit to park. Not just like that, you're going to bring your car and park like that. No, it doesn't work like that. The council is the one who issues you with a parking permit. So some of these parking permits, you'll probably be paying for them. So like these ones here, they've reserved parking. That's number 53. Yeah, it's number 54. So, yeah, it's quite very close to the water edge here, and I'm sure I'm not going to be able to walk here. So if I walk here, I'm definitely going to fall down, and that's what I don't want. If I fall down, it's quite scary, man. You see, a lot of these boats scattered all over. Life is good for these people. I think they like it like that. They don't want to be in the hustles and bustles of the city center. Might as well be here. So that's the Hits radio station, and Key 103 is probably around here. To be on the other side, I'll have to cross the bridge to go to that side. There's an Irish bar on that side as well. Guys, let me know if you like this round, if you like this walk, if you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe. It takes a lot of effort, work and time for someone to walk around and make such a nice video for you. I know you love this video. I know a lot of people like to see, they want to see the UK or probably towns and cities within the UK. So as we go on, as we continue, got another restaurant there. It's called the Albert's Shed. And as you can see ahead of you there, we've got a runny nose. It's a bit cold, and as you can see there, you got the trains. I think that one's coming from Bolton. But as you can see right there, it's quite to see. When you walk around, see a lot of things that will probably please your eyes or probably please your heart. So that's the bridge there. This is a private property. I couldn't go over there, so private property. I'm going to that apartment blocks. So I think I'm spending a lot of time today at the Albert's Shed and the the Deansgate Castlefield area. That's the Hilton Hotel. Was built in 2004. 2004. That's when it was built. It was one of the fastest, probably the tallest building, I would say, in many parts of the UK. So it was the tallest in Manchester, but the tallest in many other parts of the UK. So it's Sunday today, and looks like it's quiet. And the reason is probably the weather is not nice, but it's going to be busy in the evening. Most of these ones, they normally open in the evening, and about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you know, at sunset, that's the time most of these ones open. So this place is called the Catalan Square. So Catalan in Spain, there's a place called Catalan in Spain. So it's called the Catalan Square. As you can see, there's quite a lot of bars inside there, and it's a very old structure. Very old structure. That's the sign of this, the detailed information of this bridge above us. So as I said earlier, every bridge has got a detailed information and about in the event of any emergencies occurring. The detailed information provides you with the number, the phone number, whom you should contact to, and what to do in case of any eventualities. The small piece of land there. So what happened to that piece of land there? I remember last a couple of summers ago, before COVID, they tried to transform that place into, they made it like, you know, they brought sand. I don't know where it was from. Some people say the sand was brought from Morocco. So they made like a small beach there where people could sit down, lie under the sun and enjoy. As I said before, we don't have ocean here, so this is what we've got. So they transformed this little square there, and people were sitting down there. They were like, you know, sunbeds all over. So guys, look at the size of this pillar. It's huge, it's massive. Look at the art, look at the structure, you know, look at the construction. You know, these people were genius. These people, they build things that will last forever. You know, they were like, you know, you're talking about 200 years ago when they first built, you know, these kinds of bridges, and they're still existing. That's quite intelligent, you know, a lot of hard work, a lot of labor and so forth. The amount of construction materials they used must have been quite a lot, you know, quite a lot of material. So we are at the Roman castle. That's the Roman castle up there, and got a bit of history there, a slice of history. So Anno Domino 420, Anno Domino 200, AD 160, AD 90, AD 79. Some of these placards here, they are nowhere to be seen. They must have been probably taken out. So you got Trajan there, and obviously let's go to the board and see what the board says. So our section shows the overlying remains of the 4 Roman forts that stood on this side from AD 70 to AD 410. That's a long time. It is an accurate copy of the deposit that were excavated. So this is a Roman, about 330 years passed between the Roman soldiers building of the first port, you know, and the going out of use of the last fort. That, for example, is the same length of time that separates the defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 from the end of the Great War, World War I in 1918. So that's why we've got the Catalan over there. The Catalan Square, it's about the Spanish, talks about the Spanish. So Roman Empire, it was scattered all over Europe. There's so many parts within the UK whereby you'll see some remains of the Roman history. This looks like, well, might be reservoir for water, maybe what built at that time. They had to dig, you know, to reserve water. I'm not sure. Need to go and study this in depth. So yeah, we are still at the Castlefield. So we started in the M15 postcode Hulme, and then we went to places like the Deansgate, and then from the Deansgate we went to places like the Castlefield itself, whereby during the time, 10 years coming back this way towards the 2023, Deansgate has kind of transformed. A lot of people have moved from different places to come and live in Deansgate, and the reason is it's quite close to the city centre. You know, people prefer to be close to the city centre and to avoid travelling costs and so forth. So that's part of the museum itself, and yeah, you're living in the city centre. You reduce the cost of probably commuting, and the cost of probably but it might be expensive when you live in the city centre because you'll be paying more, more the amount of rent you'll be paying. It might be even more, and the council tax might be even more, based on the value of the property you are living. So I'm going up to the castle itself, the Roman fort. These are the remaining walls, and as you can see, a bit higher here, and it looks quite nice. Wow, look at that nice view of Deansgate. Sorry guys, I'm bapping. I don't know, it's probably because I had eggs in the morning for breakfast. I had an omelette, with toast and baked beans. Obviously, Sunday today, weekend, might need something, obviously, during the weekdays, you don't get time to do nice breakfast for yourself. So that's the remains of the fort itself. As you can see, it's quite old. Somebody's getting a ticket there. Park your car in a place. Make sure that you pay for your ticket, pay and display. Otherwise, you're gonna get a ticket. And these tickets, they can be quite expensive. Some of these tickets, they'll cost you between, the £30 for the first 14 days. If you don't pay within 14 days, it goes to £60, and later on it can go up to £100. So we've seen the Roman, we've got a bit of history around in Manchester. There's another castle over there. See that one there? Bit of history you got here, and another, all the textile or warehouse, whatever it is, right there. So we've done a bit of the Castlefield history and so forth. Now we're gonna move towards the city center, probably on Deansgate itself, and hopefully you love this video. If there's anything you need to know, please let me know. Drop me a line down there, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, and bye bye. Just remember the one thing about these bridges, they do get repaired or maintained every now and then, because otherwise, if they didn't do that, then there's a high possibility of them probably being unsafe. Imagine having these bridges for over 200, almost 200 years up to date. You might need to probably do a lot of repairs and maintenance, or otherwise it might be a bit difficult for you to be able to use them. So yeah, so it's very, very important, to maintain them. There's companies which have been allocated, with these contracts for them to maintain them and build. Make sure these bridges are quite safe for people to use, like train companies. I said bye to you guys, but I need to go. I think I'll probably go and get a video of that castle over there. So we're going to end the video when we finish with the castle. Okay, just give me a second. Let's go towards the castle. Thank you. So guys, that's the Roman castle. The one over there is quite small. As you can see, it was probably reconstructed. That's not the original one. You can see there's quite a few of those original, you know, walls over there, the ones at the bottom near the, you know, where the fence is. But this one here, it looks like it's got a lot of, you know, there's more original stones than the one over there. So yeah, guys, imagine. So there's a lot of history in Manchester, including history of, you know, got museums, quite a lot of museums here. They're quite cheap. Yeah, so the museums are quite, you know, they're not expensive to, you know, to reach. The only thing you might need is public transport or, you know, a parking space if you've got your car to go to a museum. So Manchester, you know, is very rich in terms of history itself. So the first Rolls-Royce machine was built here. Rolls-Royce, guys. I'm talking about Rolls-Royce. So Rolls-Royce is one of the most expensive cars in the world, and probably the most expensive engines built, you know, for big airline companies like the Airbus. They use Rolls-Royce. So Rolls-Royce was built in Manchester. Yeah. We've got a museum for Rolls-Royce in Manchester. We've got museums for, you know, information technology. That's where they first started building the, what you call this, the fast trains, and that's where they built, you know, aeroplanes as well. So this is the place where it all started. So we do have if you look around there, we've got that museum over there. It's literally Museum of Science and Technology, but it's currently closed. Why? Due to construction or refurbishing. So guys, I'm going to take you there now. Hold on a minute. Yeah, so walking under these bridges, it can feel a bit scary. So some of the spaces here, they are using the network rail. They're using some of these spaces as parking spaces, and they charge people to park their cars. Because we are in the city center, and a lot of cars need to be parked. People come from all over to come and park their cars because they want to reach, you know, a service which is located within the city center. So, you know, you might end up paying a lot of money for parking. So an hourly park, if you park an hour here, or 2 hours is £2, that's not bad. 4 hours, £4.50, 8 hours, £6, and 24 hours is £12, as you can see there. So yeah, it's quite interesting to travel and see things that we don't see every day. So yeah, and I was gonna end this video previously, but then I thought, you know, I wanted to complete this part of the Castlefield. As you can see, they had these boreholes, like kind of boreholes drilled on the other side, you know, where the other, you know, fortress is. So I think maybe they were probably like, you know, water reservoirs. I'm not sure. Unless otherwise it might be something like, you know, a place where maybe they, I don't know, we need to go deep in history to find out what it was really like. So got a new place coming up there. So this whole area is typically, it's got a lot of history, but unfortunately what's happening is there's quite a lot of new developments coming up, and the reason is the location itself. The location is quite interesting. Why? Because it's the city center, and it's, you know, access towards all amenities and services is quite affordable and convenient. So you see these arc, you got a garage there as well. So city center parking, safe, secure, and overnight. Got clubs under these arcs as well. So that's an extension of you know, the Roman history, the fortress. We're still in Castlefield, and this is the border of Castlefield. Now we're gonna walk a little bit towards the city center and get you nice videos. You got White Lion over there. It's probably one of the oldest as well, pub where people come down to have, you know, a drink or a nice weekend, lovely weekend. So, well, as we can see from, you know, the Roman Manchester, you know, history, Over the past 100 years, archaeologists excavating around this area in Castlefield have gradually uncovered the remains of Roman Manchester behind you, which is these ones. So they excavated and they found these ones in the Roman gardens. So some of these remains have been rebuilt. Well, these include a reconstruction of the northern gate of the Roman fort, which is that one. There was a reconstruction of that one. Okay, that was reconstructed because obviously, as I've said previously, you can't have structures, remaining for 300-400 years, without them, there's a lot of things, for example, weather, rain, and, it can cause these buildings to collapse. So a lot of reconstruction took place, and this is why we have this particular area still existing. You got the Science Museum of Science and Industry just down the line, and hopefully I'm gonna take you there, guys. So what we're gonna do now, we probably need to end this video here, and the reason is because we want to go on the second part of the tour of the city center. So if we end this video here, we'll probably be able to continue to go down the city and get you something else apart from, I know it's a long video, but to be honest, it can be a bit interesting as well to learn and probably understand about the city of Manchester. Manchester City, it has an inhabitants of about 500,000 people living in this city. It is one of the most fast developing and growing cities within the UK. Guys, I'm going to leave this one now, and I'll speak to you later then. Thank you very much, and please like, subscribe and share to my channel. Thank you. Bye bye.